Good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is YESHWANTH-IRS, and I secured 531 rank this time in UPSC Civil Services 2016. And I'm here for an interaction session with you. I mean, to give you nuances of the preparation into what it takes to prepare for UPSC exam, and I'll clarify any doubts if you have regarding the preparation. And to start with, I want to know, are you beginners? I mean, did you give this attempt this time? No, you are preparing for 2018 then. So let me tell you from the basics then. I think so it would be more helpful that way. Speaking about the UPSC exam, I know you know there are 3 stages, and it's a exam cycle of around 10 months. So it takes a lot of time of yours, and you got to be pretty careful in the way you prepare, because at any stage you lose, you got to repeat the cycle again. As you know, everybody knows this. So what I want to say is, what are the basic ingredients that you require for this exam? The basic fundamentals, the pillars. The first point I want to speak to you is about the mindset. What mindset you should have for the exam? Because just having feeling good or feeling pleasant for one day is not enough for this exam. Because any MSET or IIT or any other exam or CAT exam, if you feel good, that single day it's enough to decide your fate. But this is not the case with UPSC. That single day is done with your prelims. Then you have 9 days of mains, not exactly 9 days, nine papers of mains. Then you have interview. So it takes a lot of consistency. Putting in efforts on a single day is not enough. You got to be highly consistent in your efforts. For such consistent effort, the most critical part is your mindset. So how exactly should your mindset be? The most common aspect is you should be positive. I mean, you should be highly optimistic in your opinion, because when you are preparing for 1 year, and you obviously can't read 10 hours every day. And most of the people, what I see is, when the portion is so big, literally, if you are being crude, it is like anything under the sun. The TS covers literally everything, and there is optional, there is essay, there is interview. So there is wide variety of the portion, and it's too huge. With such millstone around your neck, you tend to get bogged down many times. And when you start comparing with others, you will feel you'll get more bogged down. So what you got to be is, you got to be highly optimistic. For being that, you should always have the end perspective in your mind. What is that end perspective? Why are you fundamentally here? To clear the exam. To clear the exam, all you need is, you should have the capabilities, capacities, or the skill set which you require for that exam. You won't get it in a day. I think so. Most of you are still, you might have interest, but you don't have the skill set now. Definitely, none of you. Even the first ranker who is going to be the first ranker in 2018, I think so, at present he doesn't have the skill set which is required for cracking that exam. So what he does consistently work and build that skill set. So that's what you should do. When you have that long-term perspective, this is not about single day. It's about a year. So one day you fall, next day you pick up, and then you work again. That's what is required for the exam. That kind of mindset is what you require. I will improve every day. It's not about doing one day good. I mean, if I study 14 hours today, it doesn't mean that I take rest tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. The exam doesn't go like that. it requires is consistent efforts with a long-term perspective to increase your skill set. See, when you are investing so much amount of your time, see, we do a lot of sacrifices when we start preparing for this exam. You don't go to party with your friends. I mean, you don't spend much time with your family, and you spend a lot of your time in a single room, which is sickening. I mean, it tends to build a lot of mental pressure on you. So you got to be highly clear. If you don't take the straight route of preparing, spending your time focused all the time, then you will waste your time. Then you will be losing out more. Did you get my point? You got my point, right? If you are not straight and spend the time which you spend quality with quality, you tend to lose out a lot more of your personal life too. Because that's why when you are preparing, be highly careful, be highly planned. That's why the second point I want to say is have a perfect plan. And perfect plan is there is no single plan for everybody in this exam. When the exam is so vast, it tends to boils down to only you. The plan changes from person to person. You should know your strengths and you should know your weaknesses. And again, I come back to the previous point, you cannot know it in a single day. By just sitting here now, you might wonder, I mean, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses? Nobody knows them perfectly. So no need to know them perfectly. All you got to know is you got to keep on improvising. Today, you will have a plan. Obviously, by the end of 6 months, your plan must change. If it is not changing, then you are not improving. Because when you improve, you tend to find out more of your strengths or more of your weaknesses. So your plan should accommodate and you should improvise it in such a way that your plan is keeping on changing. If your plan is not changing regularly, then you are not being serious enough or you're not observing your strengths and weaknesses on a regular time. That's far more important. So have a perfect mindset, and to be more present, build a perfect mindset. Even you can't have a perfect mindset, you should build it. You should have some tips I can give you. Have positive affirmations. Keep on telling yourself. I mean, sometimes even you got to fool yourself that you are in a perfect position. If you keep on telling yourself that you're having a good shot at your preparation, then you will start having good preparation momentum with the time go by. As the time passes, you'll have a more better shot at your preparation or cracking the exam. Have that kind of positive affirmations in your mind. Keep on repeating, telling yourself that you're doing good. But what we tend to do is when you press the panic button, you tend to go in a negative cycle. I mean, you'll keep on telling that, I'm not getting up, I'm not spending enough time in the study room, or I'm not reading all those books which other people are reading. That reading too many books is not will not help you to crack the exam. Reading the right and preparing right is more important than preparing more. So always have a positive mindset and always have a plan. So how can you prepare your plan? That's the second point which I want to say. Know your strengths. Know your strengths, Bharato. I mean, some people are naturally good at answer writing, which is crucial for this exam. Some people are not so good at answer writing, expressing their views. Some people can present generally. Generally, I tend to observe when I have a preparation background of around 3 to 4 years. I observe that basically people with medicine background have good strength of presenting the answer as it is. They grind themselves so much in their undergrad, so they can literally reproduce whatever they read. They have that skill set. That is their strength. Whereas an engineer can have a more meticulous kind of preparation. He has an advantage of like using more of computer, OneNote, Evernote, or whatever it is there. You tend to have, you can have a more planned and sketched exam. MBA guys will have one more strength. So know your strength and play it to your advantage. And know your weaknesses too. What engineers have is we tend to, in our undergraduation, we tend to carry all the negative habits which we develop. We read only at one single night. We don't tend to get serious till the end of the exam. Just know those are weaknesses. If you know your weaknesses, then you'll have a plan according to it, so that you'll strengthen your weaknesses. You can keep on telling according to your plan, build a kind of positive affirmations which pushes you to implement that plan. And when you have a plan, don't get into rushing that you'll keep implementing that plan every day. You just can't do that. When you're not doing that, just don't panic. Just take a step back, have a more smaller plan. There's a saying that how do you devour a whale? It's one bite at a time.
You just can't eat the bigger part of it with a single chunk. You got to take it piece by piece, and your plan also should accommodate all those aspects. Have a positive mindset and have a perfect plan. And what you do without a plan, most of the people, we have interest, we have curiosity. Why do we enter into civil services? Because basically we are curious beings compared to others. We want to know more. That's one single thing which I think so drives everybody who is here. We want to know more, because civil services is a platform where you will learn geography, economy, polity, environment, everything. So we are curious beings. Or if you're not curious, it won't help you much, because you got to have that curiousness to know everything. So being curious will help you a lot, and having the interest has come and made you to sit here. But one more thing I'm saying you, interest is good for beginning. Means if you have a job, you have quit that and come. It is the interest which has made you to take the decision. Did you get my point? But to clear the exam, to crack the exam, your interest is not enough. It is not at all enough. What more or what is the logical next step which is required to clear the exam? Anybody? It is the seriousness. It is only when your interest transforms to seriousness, then you will clear the exam. So what is the difference basically between the interest and the seriousness? Interest is, you want to study more. You'll have the interest to know more. You will be curious. You will be asking doubts. You'll be googling it. You will be trying to find out new books or new magazines, new articles, whatever the case may be. You will be trying to interact with more people, know more. That is interest. What is seriousness? What is seriousness means? Why you all are fundamentally here? Why you all are here? To crack the exam. When that perspective is at the heart of your preparation, then comes your seriousness. You are here to crack the exam. So what does that seriousness do to you? It will fine-tune your interest. How it will fine-tune? Whenever you are trying to read something, when you have that seriousness, back of your mind will be screaming that, will this help me to clear the exam? Or how will it help me to clear the exam? So you will have that perspective. When the competition is too high, means a million people write, okay, leave the million people. At least 50,000 are very much serious to crack the exam. They are very much serious. They are spending a huge amount of their time. They are investing their time, their money, they are sacrificing a lot. At least 50,000 people are there. And some people are more senior to you. Means not by age, even by attempts. They know too much about the exam. So how will you beat them? You should be serious. Serious means be efficient, be focused. You should be highly efficient in your preparation. So how can you be efficient? There are too many rookie mistakes which most of the people commit. What are those mistakes? When you have interest, you tend to read about a single topics from various sources. How do you do that? Means if you are reading about emergency powers of a president, what are the powers of a president during president? You'll read from D.D. Basu, you'll read from Lakshmikant, you'll read from whatever class notes the sir gave you, or again you'll Google about it. Don't do that. If you have interest, you'll do all this. But if you have seriousness, you'll read, you'll search what is the single best source for that thing, and you'll read from only that. Then you'll prepare a notes, then you'll revise it. You got my point? So you all have interest, no doubt about it. That's why you are sitting here. But you should have the seriousness to come here. Got my point? From there to here, to cross the path, you should have that seriousness. So be serious. And being serious means I'm not saying that you should always keep your face smug or something, or very serious. I'm not telling your faces to be serious. Have fun, make everything part of your life. But when you are preparing, or whatever time you can spend on that day on preparation, spend it quality. Spend it with some quality. Being more focused is far more important and efficient, and it will save a lot of time. Got my point? And the next thing, I told you should have the mindset, you should have the approach, you should keep on improvising it, you should have the interest and seriousness. And even if you have the seriousness, There are certain things which everybody won't do, but which will help them. It might vary from person to person. I mean, you should, when you are coming for coaching, in my view, coaching will lay the foundation for you. They're literally, they'll guide you. But how well you use that guide also depends upon your seriousness. You should develop mentors. You should develop, you should keep on asking doubts. You shouldn't shy away from asking doubts. You can't do that. You should shed all your shyness or whatever that inhibits you. So you have to keep on pestering people by asking doubts. You should meet as many rankers as possible, because those who clear the line will have a different perspective, obviously. And you should keep on asking your developing relationship with your sir, so that they'll mentor you. They'll mentor you regarding regarding how to approach the exam, how to approach a different aspect, or how to prepare for the exam, how to approach the answer writing, etc. And so I'll speak about the skill set which is required for the exam. See, it is just an exam, nothing more than that. And there is certain skill set, if you have, you will clear the exam. So like if you are good at math, physics, then you will clear IIT JEE. As simple as that. So like that, even in UPSC, you have certain skill set. So what are the aspects of that skill set? One thing, I'm speaking mainly of mains perspective, not prelims now, because mains is more crucial. It counts, it's almost 90% of the marks which count for your rank. So I'm speaking about mainly mains, not prelims. Prelims I'll come again. So mains, what are the skill set you require to clear the mains? The first is answer writing, because nobody is looking at you in interview. They look at you and judge you, but most of the marks are judged by your answers, right? Those are your more than 2000 marks are given for your answers. So your answers should speak a lot, and they should be distinctively different from the rest of the answers. So how can you make your answer distinctively different? That's the key. That will make or break your rank, or your life, for in fact, because you will be investing a lot of your time, and you won't get any degree for preparing you for UPSC. You will be spending 4 or 3 or 2 years of your life, and you won't get a degree that you have prepared for so amount of time, and you have certain amount of knowledge in UPSC. So you should be highly careful and prepare carefully for securing a rank. And the most important skill set that will fetch you a rank is answer writing. So how to improve your answer writing? The most important aspect is what fundamentally is that examiner daily maybe corrects around 30 answer sheets along with yours. He might be judging 30 answer sheets. In that 30 answer sheets, when he compares, naturally, even if I give you 2 answer sheets, when you correct 2, you will compare the 2. You won't judge by some basic standards or something. Instinctively, we tend to judge by how was the previous paper, how was the next paper. So your paper should be different from all those. When he finds your paper to be different from all those, then he'll give you more marks. So how can you make the distinctively different answer is add some extra. You obviously, writing all the relevant points is far more important. The most important aspect is understand the question. UPSC questions are not direct questions, as you have seen by now. Are you familiar with the mains question papers? Did you see the previous question papers? And actually, I forgot to say you the far more important thing. When you are preparing, or whenever you are sitting down and trying to do anything that is related to UPSC, always have 2 things in front of you. These 2 things are far more important guides than any other thing. The portion paper. If you are preparing for paper 1, have paper 1 portion paper. If you are preparing for optional paper 1, have that. Or if you are preparing for essay, have that. And then have the previous question papers. So how these 2 will help you. When you are preparing so much, you shouldn't deviate. Deviating from from UPSC preparation is the biggest trap you face in this preparation. We tend to deviate. We read more or we read less. How to escape the trap is have the portion paper. What is that subheading which you are preparing? Or is it like, take an example, is it about women in paper 1? You are reading about women. So have that subheading. Look at the previous question papers. What exactly are the questions that UPSC is giving from that subheading, then you will get to know what exactly UPSC is expecting from women perspective. Is it women empowerment, or why women are being backward, or what is the impact of caste on women, or what is the impact of religion on women, or what is the impact of patriarchy on women, how Western societies are progressing, what is the impact of globalization on women, what is the impact of any environment on women. The questions tend to be like that. Then you'll get to know how to approach that woman aspect, woman topic of the exam. If there is children, then you will have a different perspective. If you see the questions, how they ask the questions is, you'll get to know what exactly UPSC is expecting. Even it is my personal opinion, I'm not generalizing, but even I believe that when the UPSC gives the question paper setters the chance to set the exam paper, even they do this. They look at the portion, they look at the previous question papers, how the trend is, then even they set the question from that perspective. You got my point? So even you follow the same method. Look at the subheading, look at the question, then start reading about that subheading. Then you will have more clarity what to read from that or what not to read. Otherwise, you will read the entire thing about women. Every article you get in the newspaper, you will read the entire article. Or the entire book which you read about women. If there is some book about women, you start reading the entire book. Don't do that. It will waste your time and it will deviate the focus, and your mind can handle only limited stress. You shouldn't stress it more. You should use the mind more wisely. So in that answer writing also, when you approach the answer writing, your answer should be different from that. So how can you make it different? Means obviously you write all the required points. When you read the question, understand the question and answer only that question. What is asked in the question. When it is considered, he will say that what is the relation between woman and environment, comment, or elucidate or discuss. So there is meaning for the end words: discuss, comment, elucidate, explain, illustrate. So there are different meanings for that question. Once they give the statement and they give the end word, then the meaning changes for every word. So know exactly what they are asking, and then answer accordingly. Just most of the people, what they do, not most of the people, I believe around 99% of the people, what they do in mains is, there is time crunch. Obviously, you got to write 20 questions in 3 hours, 180 minutes, around 8 to 9 minutes for every question on an average. You will be stressed. So obviously, when you see the question woman empowerment, then you will keep on writing whatever you know about woman empowerment. You will start scribbling. Introduction only, you will write 10 lines. Then array, I wrote introduction too much. Then you will skip to some positive points, you know. Then you know about negative points. Obviously, by that time, you will cross your word limit of 200 words. If you are crossing 200 words, remember this thing in your mind. You will be losing out on the question. If you are crossing 250, if you are going beyond 250 words, then you are losing 2 questions. Because in the end, you will have only 5 minutes each for one question. You will tend to lose the questions. So you should be highly real time, in my opinion. When you are writing the answer, you should know that, array, I wrote the introduction less, I should be more careful. You should be highly real time. I mean, when you are writing itself, you should be very conscious when you are writing. So that skill is important for answer writing. How much to write, how to judge the question, what exactly the question they are expecting from the question. How do you get this? How do you get that skill? Only when you write so many questions. And writing test series is one of the important aspects of it. Test series is, in my opinion, around 50% of the preparation is test series. And it will be better if you write multiple test series for optional, for essay, for GS. Write different test series for different things. And even in my personal opinion, test series will help you. But for test series tends to test only one thing: how qualitatively you write in the time stress. But it won't improve your quality of the answer. To improve the quality of the answer, you should do one more thing. What is? Write daily answers. Expand the time constraint. If you're writing in the exam, in the exam you write for 8 minutes. At first start with 12 or 13 minutes. You got my point? Then you will think with some quality and you will have a better quality answer than what you write at 8 minutes. Obviously, you're spending 4 more minutes. You can think more, you can organize better, and you can present it better with 4 more minutes for every answer. Write in that. Then keep on decreasing it. At first, write 1 hour 5 questions, then decrease it to 1 hour 6 questions. You got my point? Then that will improve your quality of the answer. And just writing answers is not enough. You should review them. Show it to your institute teachers. Show them daily whatever answers you write. Show it to your friends. And whoever is giving some kind of creative feedback, which is helpful for your preparation and which will point out your mistakes, then stick to them and show them regularly. Stick to your sirs or your friends, peers, whatever may be, who is helping you in your preparation. Show them regularly. Then you will get to know. You got my point? So daily answer writing is far more important. Then the next step is how to. The next step in answer writing is you should make your answer more creative, or one extra step you got to take to get that half or 1 mark extra in that question. All you require is whatever he gives for the previous guy. Consider for the 12.5 marks he's giving for the previous guy 6 on average for all the previous papers. If he gives you 6.5, that's more than enough. Why? Because for every question, consider he's giving half a mark more. So you are getting 10 marks more in each paper than the average mark. You are getting 40 marks more in the entire 4 GS papers. Then you are getting 60 marks, 60 marks with 2 papers of optional. 10 marks more in an essay. Consider it is this 70 marks which will make you get an IAS or gets your name into the rank list. All you require is half a mark extra for every answer. That's it. So how will you get that half mark extra? Draw figures if the answer requires, or improvise, innovate. So you can't do that in the exam. You got to do it daily. Then you will get it naturally in the exam. You can't just go and draw figures, bar graphs, flow charts, and you just can't draw world maps, India maps in the examination itself. You just can't do that. If you are drawing the world map for geography questions or international relations questions, you should be able to do that below 20 seconds or 30 seconds. And it shouldn't be perfect. You can't draw them perfect. You won't have the time to do that. So the group forms which are legible, practice them. Try to gain that half or 1 mark extra in each question. That what is matters in the exam. And answer writing is the base. It will decide. And the next thing is notes making. Why I stress a lot on notes making is the entire thing boils down to revision. You'll be able to reflect and sink in the concept only if you read it multiple times. Obviously, what we do is we get stressed under the preparation of finishing the portion, and we don't revise. If you start your preparation with paper 2 and paper 3, then you are lost. You won't be able to finish preparation of paper 2 and paper 3 because every day the portion increases. Because paper 3 involves economy and environment. Day by day your current affairs will increase, right? Obviously, if you keep on preparing, daily you will have something to read for that paper 2 and paper 3. Paper 2 is polity and social justice is there, international relations is there. Paper 3 again there is environment, there is security, there is economy, everything is there in paper 2. Science and technology. Today you prepare, next day again today's news will become tomorrow's preparation. Obviously, so you keep on being in that cycle of finishing the portion, and you won't revise. Then you won't understand the concept properly. You won't be able to use them in your answers. You won't be able to do that interlinkage. And UPSC, by the way, UPSC questions won't be direct, right? They will be clubbing 2 to 3 concepts, and they will be asking something of analysis point of view. You can only analyze when you basically understand the fundamentals of that different concepts. Of like you must be able to link economical aspects to social aspects, and then to environmental aspects. So even they might ask something of this sort. They won't ask what are the impacts of GSTs, what are the advantages of GST. They won't ask that. How GST is impacting the environmental policy of India. They'll ask you in this fashion. You won't think from that perspective. What is the environment of GST? Then you'll panic. GST, I read about economy, why is asking about environment? You got my point? The question won't be direct. Or he'll ask like, what is the impact of GST on child healthcare? Because on healthcare is the service, right? There will be GST on it. How is it impacting you? Or what is the impact of GST on rural development, women empowerment? You won't be expecting those topics. If you keep on going on reading, you won't be able to link those aspects. So if you prepare a good material on GST from a source, if you read it multiple times, then you'll be able to interlink and analyze the aspects from a different perspectives. You got my point? You got to have that skill. That skill can only develop when you do note making. You should make your notes in such a way that you must be able to revise each paper in a single day. In a single day. You should be able to revise the entire paper one in a single day. The entire world history, Indian history, medieval history, ancient history, the culture part, the sociology part, the geography part, everything you should be able to realize in a single day. Prepare your notes in such a way. You might read from whatever source. Prepare a notes for it. Because when you're revising, if you got to keep on reading the entire book for revision, how much amount of time it will cost you? You got my point? It will cost a lot of time. And consider why I'm saying in a single day, because again, in the last month itself, before the mains, you must be able to revise around 3 to 4 times. And before the exam also, you should be able to revise it. Just in front of the exam, there will be single day gaps, right? In between the mains exam, then you should be able to revise it in those gaps too. Because the more you see, the more you retain it. The more you tend to present it on the paper. If you won't retain it in your mind, it won't reflect in the answer. No, it's impossible. It might be possible for 1 to 2 questions, but you won't be able to consistently produce it in 20 questions. You got my point? So have a meticulous notes preparation in such a way that you can revise all the topics of each paper in a single day. Optional 2 days. Yes, 4 days. You got my point? You should be able to finish the preparation of mains in a single week or revise it. And revise means not everything, the core aspects, so that you can interlink them and reproduce them in the answers. Even in the answer writing, producing statistics will make your answer far more better. Coming back to the answer writing, I forgot that important point. Why producing statistics is far more important. See, you will state a statement, but what is the proof of that statement? Generally, UPSC questions itself are general, vague. Some are essay questions. I'll give you an example. They are literally like, what would be the scenario of Indian national movement if there was no Gandhi in it? It's an essay question. You can write literally thousands of words on it, but you should be able to write it in 200 words. And you should substantiate your claim. Even about GST. You're writing GST and environmental pollution or environmental protection. When you make a statement, GST is good. How good? State the facts. State the statistics. Has the women empowerment really taken place since independence? If the question is like that, state with facts. Yes, women have empowered, their education has increased, their literacy levels have increased. You don't write just the point. Their literacy levels have increased. How much? By how much? That will make the difference. Produce the statistics. If you want to improvise more, show it in the form of a bar graph or a flow chart or a Venn diagram, whatever it might be. So that will help in your answer writing. Even in your note making, be careful that write it from a perspective of revision. Don't write it from a perspective of filling every point. Your notes should be understandable to you, not to everybody. So write from that perspective. You should be able to deduce the entire papers, different papers preparation into some notes of 20 to 30 pages. Prepare in such a way, because the revision and answer writing only will help you a lot. And one more important skill is the ability to think multidimensionally. UPSC is expecting not in-depth preparation of some PhD graduate or something. It is expecting how vast and multidimensionally you can think. So whenever you are writing an answer or whenever you are doing notes making, think multidimensionally. What exactly is multidimensional? I mean, when you are preparing, consider women empowerment. So when you are considering women empowerment, think historically, think geographically. What exactly is geography? North India, South India, East, West. South of India, north of India, something of that sort. How is Eastern India, Western India, Central India, Southern India? Everywhere the women empowerment is not on equal footing, as you know. Obviously, right? So geographical perspective, historical perspective, economical perspective. What is the status of women empowerment in above poverty line, below poverty line, or in cities, in affluent areas, economically, socially, culturally? How is it different in different religions? Women empowerment perspective from different religions, different castes, culturally, and even biologically in different genes. How women treat, how the white race treat women, or how Mongoloid people treat women racially, from different perspectives of different time scales. You got my point? You should be able to think multidimensionally. So what is an important quality of an administrator? What does an administrator do? He aggregates the opinion. He's an opinion aggregator. He takes the opinion of everybody and then he designs the policy. So for the designing of policy, the fundamental aspect is thinking multidimensionally. That's what even he expects in the answer. This is the most crucial thing he expects in the answer. You should be able to think multidimensionally. Got my point? So whenever you are doing thinking, preparing this, if you develop on a regular scale, when you read an article in Hindu or Indian Express or whatever line or whatever source you read, just sit for a moment and think from multidimensional perspective about the article. You got my point? So when you read and reflect on it from a multidimensional perspective, then when you are writing the answer also, you'll frame the answer in that perspective. That will help you to think naturally. It becomes part of you. And it even helps in your personal life. Whatever problem you have, thinking multidimensionally will help you. Will open new doors of solutions. And the more this is the last and the most neglected part. As I told you, the portion is huge, and in the race of preparing everything, you won't reflect on everything. So when you revise more and when you make a proper notes, you got to reflect on it more. You get a chance to do that. When you reflect, the concept will sink in. Group studies will help you if you are not wasting your time. So how to reflect means there are two things by which you can do. One thing is, whenever you read any aspect from any book, any article, or any previous question papers, whatever you do, sit and think on it for some time. Let it sink in. Don't be in a hurry. I read this article, I got to finish the entire newspaper in 2 hours or 1.5 hours. I'll just keep on reading it, then I'll throw it away. Just don't. Take your time. Even if you read less, read with proper attention and proper focus, and let the topic sink in, so that you understand the nuances of it. So that you will understand the basic fundamental aspects of it, so that you can apply those fundamentals in different aspects. When you are reading GST, reading that opinion, you tend to gather all those opinions and present it as yourself. It won't help you. It will help you for a certain extent. But when you let all those aspects sink in and think of them critically and analyze them in your mind, then you will form an opinion of your own, which is far more important. Even in interview, this will help you. When you are sinking in interview, there will be shooting questions at you. If you have this kind of mindset of thinking and reflecting on everything, then when they ask the questions, you will be able to think it from your own perspective rather than presenting some others' views. In interview, they'll expect your own view rather than from other views. So if they ask you about women empowerment, you can't keep on leftists said this, some women empowerment group said this. If you reflect on it, you present your own opinion, which is far more important, which has a lot of quality in it. So think and then go for the next step of preparing reading another article or something. So reflect. These 4 aspects are the fundamental things. So what did I tell you? Answer writing. Practice answer writing. And the second thing is notes making. The third one is thinking multidimensionally. And fourth one is reflecting on whatever you did. These are the basic aspects of the preparation which I wanted to say. So stick to them. Read whatever you are reading with a conscious mind and think multidimensional. And whatever you read, try to make notes, try to see what are the previous questions on it, and then write those answers. You might frame, some people will do these things while writing the answers. What do they do is, they'll just see the question, they'll sit for 5 minutes, I'll write like this, they'll frame that answer in their mind and they'll just go to the next question. No, that won't help you. That won't help you. Writing is entirely different. Sometimes your mind works faster than your hand. This thing happens to people. They think something in their mind and they write something on the paper. Or they won't be able to exactly reflect when because it's not that they can't write. It's that there is stress of time in the exam. You got my point? There won't be time in the exam to go back and see the answer what you wrote and correct those mistakes. You won't have that time. I can bet on it. Anybody who write the exam, they won't have that time. If they have the time, means it means that they didn't write what is required for the exam. What is required of that questions? They wrote only half of the questions, then you can go and check whatever you read. That facility is only there in essay. In essay also there are 2 essays now. Before there was only 1 essay. That time we had a lot of time. We used to frame the essay, then we would write the essay, then we would go back, check whether there were grammatical mistakes or not. You got my point? So we had that luxury in essay. Now even that, I think so that luxury is there still, but not so comfortably as it was before for the essay, because there are 2 essays. Again it became an issue of time management. Again, people think that I got to plan it, I got to finish in such a way that I finish as the essay in 1 hour 20 minutes, so that 5 minutes I can check the essay, send again one more essay 1 hour 25 minutes, then I'll have 10 minutes if for emergency. If I lose time here somewhere, I can manage those 10 minutes. People are planning in such fashion for essay too. So it is an issue of time management. So you got to do all the mistakes in the daily answer writing practice or the test series which you write. Do all the mistakes in those and prepare in such a way that there is no room for any mistakes in the mains exam. And be focused and be highly efficient. So now I'll go to the 3 steps of the exam step by step. So first is prelims. As you are all on first timers, this time there is no paper 2 in prelims from last 2-3 years. That time most of the engineers or most of the South people who are very good at mathematics and arithmetic, they had that huge advantage. They used to, out of 200, they used to score 170, 180 within a week or 10 days of preparation. And we used to easily clear prelims. Now the case is not that way. You got to score in paper 1. 66 marks, anybody will score in paper 2. And if you have that doubt whether I get 66 or not, there might be some people, I have seen them. Prepare for paper 2. If you have that doubt in your mind, just because even the vocab questions are tricky in UPSC, the passages which they give, they are not so easy. They will be tricky. I heard that this year paper is far more tricky, the paper 2 too. So prepare even for that, but focus mostly on paper 1. Paper 1, being paper 1 the only deciding factor, the stress is far more higher now, because it's highly, the experienced people will beat you there, because you are preparing for the first time. The experienced people, the people who have behind them 3 to 4 years of preparation, obviously have an advantage over you. So how to break that advantage for the first timers? So what I say is, spend minimum of 2 months for prelims exclusively. And if you are careful, if you plan it carefully, you can finish off Indian history, geography, world geography, Indian history, ancient, medieval and modern. Not world history. World history won't, no need for prelims. You can finish polity of paper 2, some economic part of paper 3, environmental part. So all this you can finish off for prelims itself, for mains. Prepare with that fashion. But in the 2 months, what can help you beat all of the experiences? Do lots of tests. Lots of tests. Test bole to write 1 standard test series in any of the institutes. That will help you to compare where your position is in the prelims on comparison to other people. You'll get to know. You should know that, how others are preparing, where do you stand. Other than that, buy all the test series papers which you get from different institutes in the Xerox shops or somewhere. All the test series question papers from different institutes of Bajiram, even of the Delhi institutes you find in the institutes or Xerox shops anywhere. write those two. Why? Because prelims is about exceptions. He won't ask you obvious questions. What is the minimum age for president to stand as for presidential elections? How many years national emergency can be there? He won't ask such direct questions. But if you keep on reading Lakshmikant, you will spend most of your time on direct aspects. He will ask only exceptions. Exceptions means what are the changes brought to national emergency during 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Your questions will be of exceptions. You got my point? When did women exactly get the voting rights in India? That is an exception. But you will read Moral Mentor reforms, Montagu Chelmsford reforms, everything you will read. But you will forget this small point. These small points will be provided in the form of questions by various institutes. So if you read that, it will be as good as any revision. If you do 100 questions test in your home, it is like you are revising 100 topics, because you will be checking those answers, right? So prepare as many questions as possible. Literally check some 80 papers. These are around 8,000 questions, right? Or 100 papers. Do 100 papers. Write one standard test series, definitely. And even at your home, do as many test papers as possible. So because it will be helpful in your revisions, and you should be able to, one intelligent skill you require in prelims is you got to make an educated guess. If you go into the prelims with the mindset that I answer only questions which I am confident of, then you can't do more than 30 questions, I bet on it. Out of the 100 questions, you can't mark confidently over 40. 40 is also too high. 40 to 50. 50 also I won't say, 40. Out of 100 questions, you can mark 40. 40 will fetch you only 80 marks. You won't clear it. So what is the key there? You got to make an educated guess. In my opinion, each question with 4 options has the probability on your side. How the probability on your side? See, each question has 25% of chance. So if you can eliminate 2 options, it boils from 50%. So if you consider that you have answered 10 questions with a guess, you got 3 right. So how many more questions it takes to bring you down to 0? 9 questions. But with logic, only 7 questions you will end up negative if you are attempting 10 with a guess. So you basically tend to be on a positive side with the multiple choice questions. So it is advantageous to do some educated guessing. But even this is it won't stand all the time. Most of the times it does stand. It is better to attempt as many questions as possible. But sometimes when the questions are extremely vague, it is better to answer only 70 to 75. When the questions are extremely vague that you don't know anything about the questions, you are unable to eliminate even one option, don't touch those, then you attempt less. If you are able to eliminate 1 to 2 options, then attempt more. Attempt 90, 85. 85, around 85 is must. Because I told you, because the probability is on your side. If you are able to eliminate the options. If you guess 30 questions, if you get 10 right, then you will be obviously on the positive side. And every half mark counts, not even half mark, 0.2 marks also comes in prelims. So the important skill set is attempt as many questions as possible. If you do more questions when you are preparing, don't read too much, even do more questions for prelims. That's what most people do a basic mistake. They tend to read a lot for prelims. No, you can't read every exception in the world. First of all, finding out those exceptions only will take a lot of time. Then when you will read so much, then when you will revise, those all exceptions are clearly researched with lots of years of experience by all the institutes. They are prepared in the form of questions. When they are readily available for you, no need to slog yourself individually. It will take a lot of your time, a lot of energy, you will be drained out. Take all the question papers, do them as much as possible. Do them as much as possible. Then your prelims preparation will be very much on track. So it is an elimination round. And one more thing I wanted to say, clear prelims in such a way that you clear it without any doubt. Why I'm saying this is, some people say last year cutoff is 116 for general general category. Most of the people will clear in such a way that they, in some case they'll get 118, in some case they'll get 114, in some case they'll get only 120. No, don't clear in that fashion. If you are clear, do clear in your prelims in such a way that you get above 120. Otherwise, what I'm saying is, till the prelims result comes, you'll waste your time. You will have doubt, I won't clear, because I'm getting only 114 according to some key. Even if with one key, if you get low score, you will get bogged down. You will start in that negative cycle. I won't clear. So clear your prelims with clear mindset and with above 120 score. And it depends from year to year. This year, if you cross 110 above, this 2017 prelims follow, if you get above 110 marks, you will surely qualify. No doubt about it. Obviously, the cutoffs will increase at least by 7 to 8 marks, in my opinion. Speaking about the 2016 exam, the highest mark was around 170. So when the difference is so much, you shouldn't neglect that paper, because essay is the only paper where you will have the time and you will be able to express your analysis part. Even in GS answers, you won't have the time. You can write, in my opinion, 12 to 14 questions at max with good quality. Even in GS, you won't be able to write. You won't be able to write all the questions with quality. But in essay, 2 essays you can produce them with quality. So, what are the important ingredients for writing an essay? Your essay, what does it test? When you see the question, select your choice in such a way that you will produce maximum amount of content on that essay. When you're choosing an essay, you know the essay paper, right? There will be 2 sections, section A and section B. Each section will give 4 questions. From the 4, you got to choose one. So from 8 essays, you choose 2. So you got to write 2 essays. When you're writing 2 essays, be careful with your time. And one more thing, even when you're choosing your essay question, you shouldn't choose it with interest. You should choose it with content, on which essay you can produce more content. You can write more. See, some questions will be like, be the change you want to see. It's just a quotation of Gandhi, which was asked for essay. And another question is, last time is like gender empowerment question came, right? Gender empowerment, if is not taken care of, the entire development process will be engendered. So that is on women. So on which aspect you can write more? Tell me. Basically, on which you can generate more content. Whether be the change you want to see, practically, with all the reading you do. In most of the cases. Which one? Huh? What is the second one? The gender empowerment. Yes, obviously you can write that, right? But what you tend to do is you tend to get carried away and take the philosophical question and be the change you want to see, or religion versus politics, or some vague question. You tend to get carried away. Don't do that. Always select the question in such a way where you can generate maximum content from different dimensions. So select the essay topic, or on basis of content you can generate. And when you take an essay question, don't just start writing vaguely. You shouldn't do that. That is a blunder. When you are spending 1 hour, 20 or 25 minutes on single essay, take 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes for planning out what you want to do in that essay. You got to write around 1000 words for each essay, around 1000 words. Above 900 is prescribable. Above 900. So, spend the 15 minutes on generating the content, organizing an essay. He'll see your content and your coherence. These 2 C's are very much important. What is the content and whether it is coherently organized. Your essay should be organically linked. If you are writing a quote, your conclusion also should relate to the quote. Your entire essay, when it is on gender empowerment, should focus on gender empowerment. Suddenly you shouldn't say that in between, in the poor countries gender empowerment is low, and go on stating that why the country is poor. You just can't do that. You got to focus, your core should be what is expecting of that question. If it is gender empowerment, be on gender empowerment. How will you understand the question? When you take the question, just don't start generating points directly. Take the questions and repeat it in your mind for 10 times. Repeat the question. Consider it be the change you want to see. Repeat the thing, be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. Then if you try to sink in, then you'll get to know what he's trying to ask. You should know what he's trying to ask. If you get to know that, then you'll stick to whatever he's trying to teach you, whatever he's trying to ask. Whenever you write a point, you'll back of the mind, you'll ask your question whether it is relating to any way what he is asking. When you're generating a point, when you're generating a statistics, when you're generating an illustration, whatever you're thinking, when you're writing the conclusion, whenever you're writing that, behind the mind you will be thinking whether it is relevant to the question he has asked or not. So try to repeat it multiple times and try to let it sink in. So then select the question, generate the content from different dimensions, ensure that there are statistics. I'm not exactly saying that if there is no statistics or no figures, they won't give you marks. But if you put in, it will be helpful. Obviously, it will be helpful. It will add relevance to your answer, relevance to your essay. So generate some examples, illustrations. You can start with a quote if you have the quote which specifically suits that topic. Write a quote then. If you are not comfortable, just don't write for the sake of writing. If the quote has no relevance to the essay you're writing, just don't write it. And just write, don't create an quote and write. Don't do that. If you are familiar with an illustration, write an illustration. If you are familiar with a story or real life event which has happened, start with it. So there are different ways of starting. Start it, write the content, try to make sure that it is in a coherent fashion. Then write your conclusion. Your conclusion should be in such a way that it should end in a positive note. Positive note means not exactly what is happening. You should kind of give a solution in your conclusion. When you're writing so many problems, and mostly write essay in pros and cons format. In writing general, what historically has happened, what are the cons, why it is so low, why the literacy levels are still low in compared to male population, or something like that. So write the cons, write the disadvantage, then write the advantages, then in your conclusion write a positive solution. How exactly we should move forward in that aspect to find a solution, ultimate solution for that problem. Each essay question is a problem, right? It's a problem. Or there is some problem in that aspect. Be the change you want to see also. Why people are unable to change? Why people won't change? Why the people don't change themselves but they expect others to change? That's what is the question, right? What did Gandhiji say? If you are changed and if you want to follow Swachh Bharat, you can't say everybody do Swachh Bharat and you don't be clean yourself. First you should be clean yourself. You should be hygienic yourself. Then you can expect others to follow the path of Swachh Bharat. You got my point? So when you are writing the conclusion, how to bring about change within people, with an education system maybe, with a campaign maybe, including the civil society maybe, whatever might be the futuristic solution which will help find a solution to that problem of an essay, write that. Ending on a positive note is prescribable for an essay. Then coming to paper 1. Paper 1 is the best paper 1 and 4 essay optional interview. Paper 2 and paper 3 are unpredictable because whatever you might read, those questions are, you cannot expect and anticipate the questions in paper 2 and 3. And the marking variations change dramatically in paper 2 and paper 3. In paper 2, this time in 2016, people couldn't fetch as good maps as paper 1, paper 4 or paper 3. In 2015, paper 3 was scored very much good marks on comparison to paper 1 or paper 4. So what I'm saying is paper 2 and paper 3 are unpredictable. So focus first on paper 1 and paper 4. Why I'm saying paper 1 and paper 4 prepare first is specifically paper 1. You have standard material for paper 1. History won't change, geography won't change, society part won't change. You got my point? So there is standard material all readily available for you, coaching readily available for you. You can prepare paper 1 with high confidence. So start your GS preparation with paper 1. Finish it off. Then you will have the confidence of preparation of one paper confident. If you start with paper 2 and paper 3, you fall in the cycle I'm saying you read. the current affairs go on building up with regular intervals. Regularly they'll keep on piling up. Then you will feel the pressure. You won't be able to finish the portion. Then at the last you will feel that, array, I didn't read paper 1. I didn't spend much time on paper 4. So focus on the strengths. Focus on paper 1. Focus on paper 1 first. Then finish the essay, finish the history, finish the geography, finish the culture part, finish the sociology part, for which material is readily available. Prepare answer writing even for that. Do answer writing practice. Paper 1 you can finish off, then you'll have the confidence. And paper 1, there won't be multiple answers. Like in paper 2 and paper 3, if people write 2 answers on economy or polity, there will be 2 different answers and 2 are right. But in history, there won't be two different answers, right? If they ask the role about Germany in World War I and 2, there is only specific view on that. There are no multiple views. Even if there are multiple views, there are only 1-2 views. That's it. There is no subjective answers in paper 1. So approach paper 1 first and prepare thoroughly. Prepare material for geography, draw figures in geography, even if in history, if possible, draw figures like India map. In 2015, they asked a question about Battle of Panipat. Right, India map, show where is Panipat. In geography, though, I tell you, try practicing drawing maps. Because when you draw the map, he won't check your answer. He'll know directly that you know the answer if he sees the figure. If it is about water currents, draw the world map and draw the water currents. If it is about circulation system of winds, draw the world globe and show the wind circulation systems. If you show them, definitely know that you know the answer. Otherwise, he has to spend some time to look reading your answers and then come to know the conclusion that you know the answer. You got my point. Make it easier for the exam. He'll be checking 30 marks, 30 questions or over 30 papers daily. You won't have patience to read your entire answer and then decide you know or not. He'll obviously see the figure, he'll feel happy, he'll give you marks and he'll go. So draw maps in geography. Prepare in such a way. And even in history, prepare specifically what kind of questions he's asking, only from that format. As the material is very much readily available, prepare paper 1. Going for paper 2. You have any doubts in paper 1? Society part, you got to see the portion. Prepare from NCRTs. Then you will get the fundamentals. Then keep on building on that fundamentals through your current affairs. Because society part, he will be mostly asking from current affairs perspective. How urbanization impacts. Sometimes he'll ask the subheadings related questions directly. Prepare the subheadings and prepare some stats too, from current affairs. What exactly women development relation schemes the government is coming up with. How smart city program will help women empowerment or children or old age people. How the smart city program is getting planned. So the questions will be around from that perspective. So prepare your base with NCRTs and whatever institutes and material the institutes provide you. These two will act as your base. On that, with the current affairs, you build the material for society part. That would be more than enough, because he won't be expecting as much as a sociology optional guy. He'll be expecting a general studies answer. Write a general studies answer for paper 1. Then if you go to paper 2, there is polity part, and there is social justice part, and there is international relations part. This paper 2, you got to read in such a way of perspective of current affairs. Finish when you are starting paper 2. Don't go from step by step. Check for whatever subheadings you have. There is available of ready-made material, or which you can read off. See, for polity part, Lakshmikant is, you will have a Lakshmikant or DD Basu or whatever book you have. Readily material is available. Finish them first. Finish all those aspects. Set each subheading to subheading. Check whether there is material available. Then finish them first. After finishing them, then go to the most vague parts. How to prepare those vague parts where there is material is not available. There I will tell you what are the 2 guides which I told you. The portion part and the previous question papers. Look at the previous question papers. What questions did they ask from that subheadings? So what they will be expecting, you will know already. So when you are preparing for the current affairs, if there is any requirement of reading some constant, I'm saying you not static aspects about that subheading, read them. If there is anywhere any static aspect, over and above that, the most important fluidic aspects will be current affairs itself. So when you're reading current affairs and read from one source, don't read it from multiple sources. Don't read newspapers, again and read Hindu reviews in different websites, and again read some 2 newspapers. No. Stick to 1 or 2 newspapers. Even when you're reading 2 newspapers, when you read one newspaper completely, don't read second newspaper also completely. See what is different from this to that, and only focus on that. Some articles, Rajamohan articles will be good for IR and Indian Express. Read them. Pratap Bhanu Mehta articles, if you like them, only read them. If you like the analysis part of those, only read specifically from them. Don't read the entire 2 newspapers completely. Somebody told me that reading 2 newspapers is good. Some people say, and they spend 6 hours on newspaper or 4 hours on newspaper. Reading 2 newspapers, that's counterproductive. You should be highly selective of what you are reading in the newspaper. But read 1 newspaper completely, so that you won't lose out points. By reading 2 half off, you lose some out points, obviously, right? So when you're reading 1 newspaper, read 1 newspaper properly. And if you want to read 2 newspapers, the second newspaper, don't spend so much time on that newspaper. Read only specific aspects of it which are considered as good from that. Okay, got my point. So build the current affairs, read Vision IAS current affairs if you feel like, or the institute, which this Pragya Institute or any institute, take 1 source and read only from that 1 source, current affairs, and keep on building them according to wherever you, which subheading you want to fit in, fit there. You organize your current affairs. Just don't today's date. Don't write. Keep on writing those days current affairs without organizing them. Because when you are revising, you will be reading all, even the paper 1 or paper 3 current affairs for paper 2, or paper 4 current affairs for paper 2. You got my point? Organize them. This prepare. If you are preparing online, that's good. Prepare 1 note, one folder you prepare, and you keep on adding for paper 2, for paper 3, for paper 3. In that paper 2 also, for specifically for this subheading, prepare your current affairs in an organized fashion. So when you are revising, it will be easy. You will be able to easily interlink. So when that from that subheading, if you get a question, directly you can use the current affair and write directly. Then you won't need to catalog on your brain. From this, for this question, which current affair I can link. That you won't be able to do that in the exam. So prepare your current affairs in such a fashion, and then you approach any question that comes from that. You got my point? Paper 2 and paper 3 also, the same thing applies. You have a material for security, you have a material for environment, you will have material for economy. Read them, and prepare your current affairs notes over and above it. And be organized in your current affairs notes. Don't be vague. And any specific doubts regarding paper 2 and paper 3? At least on paper 2 and paper 3, you should have some doubts. Because those are puzzles. Nobody can crack them easily. Don't have any doubts. Okay. Coming to paper 4. Paper 4, again, I am saying you, it's a very highly fetching thing. Paper 4, people tend to get huge amount of marks. Paper 1 and 4, highly focus on them. And in paper 4, how to approach paper 4? There is no material for paper 4 compared to any other paper. Even for paper 2 and 3, for some topics you get material, but paper 4, some lexicon is there, only 2-3 books are there. Those are also not comprehensive. If you have patience, I say you, read summaries of ARC reports. Summaries. Don't read entire reports. Or read some aspects of ARC reports which are helpful for you. If you ask your public administration teachers or somebody, they will help you out what to read. If you don't read the entire ARC report, don't do that. It will kill you, because it's literally bundled my cages of books in there. So don't spend much time on that. Only read the summaries or specific parts about corruption, about drawbacks in current administrative system, how terrorism is impacting people or the society, how to approach poverty, or what are the current suggestions for electoral reforms, or current suggestions to improve the Indian administrative system. So ARC report, those things will help you in paper 2 polity part and even the paper 4 part. So when you are writing paper 4, what I suggest you is stick to your mentor who is good at teaching paper 4 in the institutes. In Pragna, if you find a good mentor who has right approach to paper 4, stick to it. Try to find out. And other than that, what individual research you can do is try to find out the previous question papers of toppers you find in the institute or any institute which you like on Pragna specific. If you find the previous toppers current test series papers, read them. Try to read them. See who got high marks in paper 4 and read those test series papers which they read. Then you will get a grasp of how to approach the case study aspect, how to approach case study, how to think of a case study, and then how to write the different quotation questions which they give. They give a quotation, or some questions will be like, what is happiness according to you? 2015 wala question. So look how they approach the question. Then develop your own approach. If you see 4 to 5 toppers question papers, then one approach suits you. Obviously, right? There will be 4 to 5 approaches for each question. When you look at one of them suits you, then stick to it. Try to practice it. Paper 4 requires a lot of practice of thinking differently, thinking from an administrative perspective. Think if you are an administrator, how you will deal that problem. If you have that mindset, then you can easily crack paper 4. Then you can easily crack paper 4. And coming to optional part, have you chosen any option? For option, everybody is clear with their option, or somebody still have any lingering doubts in their minds? Huh? What are your options? May I know your option? Huh?
Anthropology.
Yours anthropology. Yours? Anthropology. Yours? Not yet decided. So when you're choosing your option, as you are preparing for 2018, there is a lot more time. When you're choosing your option, there are 2 points which you have to keep in mind. One thing is you should have interest in it, because you got to read, because it is a subject. There are lots of concepts which you got to learn, lots of minute aspects. It requires a lot of your attention, a lot of your time. So when you are choosing an option, keep an eye whether you have an interest on it. Check the portion, check the previous papers, check the portion specifically. Analyzing, using the current affairs for writing your answers, preparing separate current affair notes even for your optional. Rest goes, even what goes for GS goes for optional too. Then coming to the third stage, interview. Yeah.
How about choosing optional mathematics?
It's good. Mathematics has been on a rage, I'm saying, in the last 4 years. I've seen people who have got into the best services only because of maths. But maths is binary. I will warn you again. And it's not like sociology, anthropology, which can assure you rank. Maths is like binary, 0 or 1. Either you be in the top or you won't be in the list. See, that's the truth. You should know that before taking the option. You should take the test. I think so, but if you spend your time, 6 months of your time on maths, and if you master it, then you can crack even forest service, because there is maths optional in forest service. There are no anthropologies, sociologies, political science, geographies in the forest service. You can definitely clear forest service. Even if you are done with UPSC, and if you are not cleared UPSC, if you have prepared maths, CAT will help you, GMAT will help you. Obviously, maths if you prepare maths, it will help you throughout your life in cracking any exam. That definitely has that advantage. So take on maths, and SSC also you can crack if you take math. So it will help you, right? If you are building up and if you want to crack those exams, maths is the base. And it will help you to clear. I've seen people who have taken anthropology, political science, psychology, and couldn't clear any exam, because those options will help you only in UPSC. It won't help you in SSC. It won't help you in forest service exam. Obviously, right? So maths is very helpful. If you can spend 6 months of your time thoroughly and write all the test series, and you can master it, that's the best thing you can do in UPSC. Seriously. But you should have that aptitude. Obviously, maths requires a lot of natural aptitude to it. You just can't keep on doing math and get better at it. That's it. And coming to your last stage and the most important stage, interview. And it's not interview, it's personality test. And don't think that they're judging you. And nobody can judge you in 40 minutes. It depends upon their mood, your mood, weather even sometimes. who the person who was interviewed before you. So it is a matter of luck, but you can master your interview too. One of the basic aspects I tell most of the fundamental mistakes people do in interview is your detailed application form, which you fill after your interview. After your prelims results. After prelims results, everybody fill a 10-page document called detailed application form, in which they ask every detail about you. You know about this, or you are not aware? It's called detailed application form, DAF. In the DAF, in which school you studied, which subjects you studied in your school, what are your percentages, what are the school names, what are the college names, intermediate, undergraduate, if you have done any post-graduation, whether you have worked before, whether you have been selected to any other government exam before, or whether you have been selected to any by UPSC before, why you left the jobs, your private job, your salaries. Coming to the most important part, they'll ask your hobbies, your achievements, whether any leadership roles you have played, what is your father, what is his profession, what is his income, right? So what are your undergraduates? So there will be everything about you in the DA, detailed application form. So when you are filling your detailed application, what are your service preferences, and what are your cadre preferences also will be there. So they'll ask questions based on that too. So when your detailed application form, don't be a fool and look at other people's DA form and fill yours. Even in service preferences or in writing your hobbies. Don't write hobbies in which you have no proficiency, or in which you cannot develop proficiency in those 3 months after the means set before the interview. Right? So don't write them. Because I've seen most of the people get fooled in the interview because they don't know what they are writing at the time of DA. They fill in whatever they feel like. The service preferences, they don't know which service is which after the top 4 services. They fill whatever they feel like. Then suddenly they get into the merit list. Suddenly they get the job. Suddenly they are lifelong hooked to a thing which they don't know anything about, which they put some option accidentally. You got my point? So be very careful when you are writing service preferences, cadre preferences, and don't just write paragraphs and paragraphs in your hobbies, because when they see those paragraphs, they won't ask you from that. Basically, any human being at max can have a good quality of 2 to 3 hobbies. Write them, that's it. If you're good at yoga, if you're good at running, if you're good at some sport, if you're good at writing poetry, if you're good at writing short stories, whatever might be, cooking, just mention 2 to 3. Don't write paragraphs and paragraphs. Don't. If they ask you about leadership roles, don't keep on developing something from your school. Even you can write if you are a school captain or something in your school, but don't create them and write, because you should know exactly what did you do at that leadership role in that. In that role, what did you do? What was the requirement? What innovatively did you do? They ask you that. So don't do that. So that is the most critical part for your interview. While writing your DAF only, you should be conscious about the interview, because from this DAF, from those 10 pages only, they will ask questions, or around 80% of your questions. 20%. Sometimes it might totally revolve around your around current affairs, but it is the current affairs and detailed application form which they ask of in the interview. So you can literally guide the interview if you fill your detailed application form with consciousness. And when you are preparing for the interview, for interview preparation, you should be thoroughly have knowledge about every word in the DAF which you write. Why? Prepare some questions which can be asked on that, about your school name. If you have a peculiar school name, if you are studying in DAV, they'll ask what is DAV, how it was formed, what is history behind it. They might ask, you know DAV schools, right? They might ask. Some people have studied from that, or if it is St. Stephen's or something, whatever might be the name. They might ask some history about it. If my school name was Shantiniketan, so they related it to the Shantiniketan University of our Rabindranath Tagore. So they ask me questions about it. They do that. So interview is a very pleasant experience, and going there is a privilege, and it's one of the highest platform. 5 to 6 people will be there. They will be asking you about everything, and most of that it will be from your DA. If you have done your undergraduate in medicine or engineering, they'll ask you from that too. And if you have done some job, they'll ask from that. So basically it will be like that. Mostly it will be everything from those two aspects. If from current affairs they'll ask you, they'll link your detailed application form to your current affairs and they'll ask you. Your service preferences they ask you. If most of the people put, some people I have seen their first preference was IPS. That's why IPS. Some people they don't put home cadre. Their first preference, they put some other cadre. Or if they put home cadre, sometimes why only home cadre? Even from your hobbies, they might have high proficiency. One of the member might have proficiency in that hobby. He'll thoroughly grill you on that hobby. So don't write on which you are not thorough. That's it with interview and that's it with preparation. So any general doubts on the entire session if you have, I need questions. Ask some questions. Because I'm here to guide you. Because if you don't have any doubts, it means that you didn't understand anything, or whether you are 100% perfect. I don't believe that you are 100% perfect. Nobody is at the very starting of the preparation, so I just can't believe that. So have some doubts. Any doubts which is lingering in your minds from the past regarding the preparation, how to handle different papers, or how to handle general preparation, regarding answer writing, regarding any paper, regarding any subtopic, regarding optional.
Sir, can I choose two different papers in optional?
What?
Like if I choose paper 1, anthropology, paper 2, public administration.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
You need to choose two.
You have to choose only one option from this. They get two papers. Be low.
There won't be sufficient material for paper 2 and paper 3.
Yes, you got to prepare on your own, and institutes will provide you as more than what you require.
Coming to current affairs, while getting a newspaper, we are noting or we are preparing any soft copy. If you are preparing around materials, just a date-wise manner, or we have created like a paper-related manner. This is the paper on topic.
Okay. You're done. You want to ask more?
I have already done, but I have prepared like a date-wise stuff.
Date-wise won't help you because why you are writing current affairs? To link it to your answers, right? To revise them. When you are revising for paper 2, you can't. If you write date-wise, you will revise everything. Obviously, you don't know where you write for which paper 2. You won't remember every day what you wrote, right? So you read everything. Then that's waste of time. And even if you write date-wise, you can't link it properly, right? Which subheading I use which. You'll generally write paper 2, and you'll write all the current affairs. Even that won't be enough, in my opinion. Which subheading should I link it to? Some current affairs will be common. You can link it to paper 2, you can link it to paper 1, you can link it to paper 3.
Instead of that, we can go for instrumental, which is providing
Even that you got to organize.
Yeah, it is there in like paper-wise manner.
Paper-wise manner, again, subheading I am speaking, right? See, when I am giving paper 2, one current affairs might be useful for social justice and local bodies. Some will be for central government and children, current affairs. National education policy is there. It is for children and central government policy making. How will you use it? You cannot write general. Go by subheading wise. It will give you more clarity in your preparation. More clarity is important. You don't like to mess up because then you won't get clarity in the exam too. Go subheading wise, in my opinion. Or at least when you write the current affairs in paper 2, write all the subheadings numbers which that current affairs is useful. So have a portion paper beside. When you read the current affairs for paper 2, then you will be able to link it. It is useful for this. At least do that instead of going subheading wise. When you write the current affairs, mark all the numbers. In your portion paper also mark all those numbers. Then check it. Do that. Any more?
The previous question papers that you told, like just in case I'm attempting this 2018, from which year should I start collecting?
1 year before.
Just 1 year.
From the previous means. It would be enough because the topics won't be created anew, right? Even the 5 years before current affairs will be mentioned somewhere in those 1 year current affairs. If it is relevant, you will be. The static part is the current affairs of last 5 years. Obviously, right? All the static part will be taught you in the institute. So obviously, last 5 years you will cover. I am saying you can't cover 100%. I am saying you around 80% of that will be covered. Or in the event current 1 year current affairs also, you will find relation to those 5 years. Otherwise, it won't be mentioned now, right? If there is a continuation, you will definitely know. So even it will be either covered in the static part or in the 1 year's current affairs also, you will get to know them. Because the fundamental issue that the country faces is recurrent. It is poverty, women empowerment, or child issues, child labor, child abuse. All the topics will be recurrent. In the 1 year span of time, you get to know all of them. So you don't need to focus more than 1 year, in my opinion. If you are preparing for 2018 mains, read current affairs from 2017 mains. Obviously, you got to be a minimum of 2 years in preparation to crack the exam. 1 year you will take all the coachings, you will prepare. Then 1 year you will write the exam. These 2 years current affairs, if you are thorough, you will cover most of the topics.
Questions you need to look upon at least 3 to 4 years.
No, 5 years minimum. 5 years minimum. Then, because from year to year they will change the topics, right? So at least have 5 years of minimum previous year's question papers and then go. At least 2012 or 13. 13 new pattern, right? From 13. Any more?
Some test series that we should follow. Some tests.
And that depends upon your own choice, personal choice. When you write the question, approach different institutes which provide. Look at the question.
For current affairs or something.
And Pragnya is good if they are providing a current affairs. I have seen Swaroop. He has good focus on it. If you can get from this institute, or your own choice, Vision IAS is there, or any other thing. Mostly go meet the head of the institute, interact with them, see 2-3 question papers. If you find the enthusiasm and interest in it, take it. Because they got to put in a lot of energy to prepare questions. Preparing questions is not easy. Those questions should be of UPSC standard. Otherwise, writing the test series is futile. It won't be helpful. Any more?
So, is there any time for a day we should read this much? I mean, so there are some people who can read only 5 hours, spend quality time only for 5 hours, not more than that. So, what should we do to improve, or how to deal with it?
Okay. See, straight away you can't read 14 hours, but by the end of the mains you will get that ability. You got to build it daily. See at first how much amount of your time you are able to focus. Around 5 hours maybe at first, maximum. Spend those 5 hours and daily keep on improving half an hour or 15 minutes. Take some new topic, increase your schedule. Just go on, it's just like an exercise. Whether you are running, just like running. You cannot run 10 kilometers in a day. First you run only 1 kilometer, then 1.5, then 2, then 2.5. Even the preparation increases it. Just, brain is a muscle, that's it. You got to just build it. Any more?
And if we didn't start reading current affairs even now, if we start reading it in August or something, is that enough?
To the 2018?
Yeah. Or we should come from again June?
No. August will be fine. Because from before 2017 mains only you are preparing for 2018 mains, right? That would be enough. Anywhere before October would be good.
Most of them is working professionals.
Working professionals is a different case. Say, if you are working, spend your weekends for preparation and daily at least 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. Try to manage. That would be more than enough. But spend with quality, not with drained out energy or something. Take rest. Focus complete. Spend your complete weekend to the preparation, and daily 2 hours or 3 hours would be enough if you are working. Any more? The geography is good, but last 2 years the scoring has not been so high.
What is geography?
Mine was sociology. Who is taking social?
I going to ask about that question. What about
See, sociology has good. It's a very good option.
You basically interest to read the society and maybe somebody told that we can't score marks regarding sociology.
No, sociology you can score marks. Sociology you can score marks, no doubt about it. Sociology has helped me. But in sociology, one important skill is your answer writing skill should be extremely good. Good means not in language, means you should write bombastic or high range English words. That's not I'm speaking of. Your language should be highly sociological. It should be in sync with sociology. How means in sociology one catch is if there is a question and if 10 people write answers, 10 are right. It's not the case with other technical options like maths or something. Maths, if there is a problem, there is only one solution for it. But in sociology, 10 are right. But your answer should be more sociological. So answer writing skills is the biggest skill set you require for sociology. If you take sociology, it's like writing 6 GS papers. And sociology, one thing is, it is not certain that you will get every year high marks, like maths, on comparison with maths. In sociology, some 1 year you might get out of 500, you might get 300. Next year you might get 250. You cannot say, because it depends mostly on the examiner who is correcting your paper. If he likes your answers, he will give marks. But it is very good optional regarding the portion. You can finish off coaching in 3 to 3.5 months at max. You can read every time. If you have a proper notes, you can finish your preparation in 15 to 30 days. Any given day. Any time before mains, you can finish it off in 15 to 30 days. Those are the advantages with social. And you'll get above average marks. Anybody can get above average marks in social. If you are serious into the preparation, I mean, not everybody who writes like that, but if you are seriously into the preparation, you can easily get above average marks. Easy. But scoring the best marks is very tough in sociology, because your answer should be extremely of high range to get that marks.
You provide this statistics for
Sorry, I didn't get you.
If there is an application topic, I put the topics and what is the merits and demerits and what is the disadvantage into the about those statics and the relation to those answers, maybe can get some more marks.
Yes, obviously. Relating the current topics to in your answers will be very much helpful. Very much helpful. Any more?
And about the NCERT books.
NCERTs you got to read now.
Any standard of books that you have to read?
Basically they say from 6th to 10th. No need, from 8th, 9th, 10th you read.
History,
Geography, polity, economy. Do that now in the next 1-2 months. You will have solid fundamentals, because the illustration is very much. I being a CBSE background, I can vote for them because the illustrations are very easy and they'll make you to understand without any other explanation. Because the illustrations with the figures and all, and they try to explain it in a lucid language, which is not so tough. All the economic or polity or geography of concepts in it, the NCERTs will be very much helpful. Otherwise, even the institutes, if you are attending coaching, no need to read every NCERT, because coaching institutes basically we do that. We read, we teach you basics, right? Those are from NCERT books itself, and over and above that. That's it.
So if we stick to class notes, and if we master, get through the class notes really well, is there any? Do we need any other further readings? And along with source book, if we read class notes, is that enough?
It depends from topic to topic. Some, see in which institute you are attending. If that institute, in that institute economy is good, then no need to read for economy more than that. History might not be good in that. Then you got to find out in that institute which they taught you to the levels of UP exams which they could not. You got to analyze that. If you analyze that, based on that, if the economy part they taught you very well, and you don't, if you feel that there is no other material better than that, don't read any other material. If in history they're lagging, we can read history. So it goes from subtopic to subtopic. I just can't judge you. You went to some coaching institute, they taught everything there. I just can't say that, because every teacher won't be as good as or up to UPSC standards. That's all.
Is that any means like apart from the notes making, is both with class notes as well as any institute material?
I didn't get you, sorry.
Yeah. If we are making our own notes from the textbooks or any other sources along with the class notes from the institute, is both any differentiate between the answer writing or?
See, you build on your institute notes. Don't take and make your own notes from the scratch, because that's time based. You already attended the classes, you understood the concepts, you have written notes. Build on that. Don't build beside it. And one more point I wanted to say generally for the preparation. Most biggest trap in UPSC preparation is don't fall into insecurities. Most of the people tend to develop many more insecurities in your preparation. Whether I am fit for this exam or not. Whether a person who is more qualified, who has more age, more experience, more number of years of preparation, is more qualified. I am not qualified. I didn't have that much education background or brought up of that sort. Even the third ranker this time is a normal Telugu medium background guy. The third rank guy or any other matter. Anybody can crack the exam. If you are focused for these 2 years, you can easily crack the exam in the very first attempt. If your guidance is right and if your preparation is up to the level. So don't develop any kind of insecurities. Have that seriousness, have that interest, then you will definitely come out with flying colors. Don't develop any kind of insecurities. Be happy, have fun, spend time with your friends, spend time on any hobbies if you have. Don't go completely into the preparation. When you are so much into preparation, you should have some kind of relaxation to ease out the tensions, to balance your life out. If you don't have them, even the preparation for such a long time in single rooms is sickening. It will sicken your mind. It will weaken it. Try to strengthen your mind, freshen it from time to time. But don't get deviated on that path. Be always focused on them and try to be consistent. Being consistent is the most important quality which you require for the exam. And don't build insecurities. Be confident. Everybody can clear the exam. Thank you. If you have any doubts, you can ask me also.
Though I work for some cafeteria, I also work for a marketplace. Oil prices. Many people not listening. People who are more experienced than me, they don't care. But now they may not release the so people take the opportunity as so we can they won't fire me for market price. At least what's your name?